What's going on, guys? I am the Veteran Miner, and we have this thing. Welcome. Hold on, guys. Like, is the music loud?
Yeah, I can't hear anything.
Is that loud?
Super loud, yeah. At least for me on the back end.
Let me see here. Everyone's talking, guys. See.
It might just be me, though. I don't know.
Yeah, but I mean, when you play the music, I'm playing the music inside the thing. I don't even have, why is it so freaking loud? It's still really loud, right? What?
Feels like I'm floating.
I can't hear you. I'll just turn the music. Wait. Okay, hold on. Give me a second.
There it goes. That's a lot better.
Is it good?
Yeah.
So, like, what do you set your background music to when you do the live stream, Mike? Because I don't have
like 20 or something. It's low.
Okay, so it's at 14. So it was at like 100 and something %.
That'll do it. That'll do it.
That's great. Anyway, welcome, everybody. Son of a Rabish, Crypto Craig, Frogman, Automatic Beats, to Toxic Miner, Emmanuel Cruz, GPURisers in the house. Thank you, Mike, for being here with me. Mad Investor, Vinny Del Greco. If I missed anyone, I apologize. A little bit of a rough start, obviously. That's just how Wired Wednesdays work. I can't find my controller to put the lights on around the room. So Mike saw me running around like a crazy. But oh, and I forgot to put my fan on. Let me put my fan on. Mike, take over. How you doing? I gotta put the switch on for the fan because I'm gonna burn up in here. Hold on. Go ahead.
All right. Well, what's going on, guys? Welcome to another beautiful Wednesday. Actually, it's probably awful in most of the country. It's super cold. It was in the 50s here in South Florida this morning, so I assume everywhere else it was pretty cold. I spoke to Dave earlier today. He said it was like snow everywhere, and people were having trouble getting everywhere and everything like that. So I'm surprised they didn't declare a national emergency in Florida, honestly. But it seems crazy. It seems like it's going to get cold again. Still, we've been for Terra. Our facilities are in Kansas and Wyoming, and it's nuts what they have to do with these facilities. The guys that are like there, every day, they put airplane defroster on the intakes, which is crazy. I never even thought about doing that, but I guess it makes sense now. So it's nuts. You always think, like, especially mining in Florida for so long, there was never a time where there was one time where it got pretty cold when I was in Orlando. Me and my buddy had like 3 rigs, like 1060s, 470s, stuff like that. And we would open the window and like circulate the air from outside. And it was like the first time that the AC wasn't like destroying itself trying to keep these things cool. So the point I'm trying to get to, Dave, is it can be too cold for mining, which is nuts. So there's a couple different ways you could do facilities, but I was speaking with King on it, and like the proper way to do it if it gets too cold is you actually have to like recycle heat from the hot aisle back into the cold aisle. So like the way Jared explained it, or the Mining King explained it, is that like you can't have large swings in temp, on these things. They kind of they like to be warm, you know what I mean? Like cozied up in a little nice blanket.
You like to be nice and cozy.
Yeah, so you want to keep it like a normal temperature. It's hard to operate in extreme cold. So we are learning. But Vinny Del Greco, what's up, man? GPURisers, snow in Florida, in the Panhandle. Yeah, there was. It's crazy. I think like 6 inches of snow where it was in Pensacola, which is nuts. So I don't think that's ever happened, at least from what I can remember. So it's been crazy. Mining King, what's up, man? You're here. I just sorry I didn't call you back. You want smooth temperatures? Yeah. Hydro and immersion are great. That's what a lot of the guys out in the like Middle East, like in the desert, they do a lot of hydro. because the temps are so extreme. You know what I mean? So, Vista ain't getting the park out. Yeah, it's cold. I walked out today and I was in shorts and a t-shirt. I didn't even know it was cold. I had no idea.
How cold is it over there?
It was like, I think it was in the upper 50s today, like 59, 58, 59.
I'm at 23 degrees. Everything's shut down in North Carolina because apparently they're not equipped for 5 inches of snow. Like,
Yeah.
Come on. Everything's shut down. It's getting all iced up, and we have to cut the we're gonna have to cut the live stream short because I gotta go pick up my daughter. She couldn't drive. Well, I didn't want her to drive to work because it's gonna be all ice. It's already iced up right now. So
no, Jared's saying colder than Kansas when you were there with me. No, the last day in Kansas was actually the coldest weather I've ever been in my life. And like I've been in like the 20s, you know what I mean? Like I went skiing once. Like it was more like sitting on the side of the mountain for me. But I've been in that kind of weather, right? But it was 7 degrees outside when I got up, and I was in like my signature tracksuit because I'm getting on the plane. You know, I want to be comfortable. I'm not gonna have all these layers on, sitting like crammed with people. So I was in a tracksuit, no gloves or anything. I got out of the car, and then it was the airport in Wichita. So it was like from the rental to the slider doors at the front to the terminal. It's maybe like, I don't know, 50 yards or 100 yards or something. But I couldn't move my hands by the time I got to the door. And then I thought, which is probably a very Florida thing to think, but I was like, what if I went up to this door and it just didn't sense that I was there, and it didn't open, and I was just left in the cold. I was literally thinking that while I was walking to it. I'm like, do I just call the police? Like, I don't know what to do because I couldn't move my hands. It was like getting so cold. I was like, this is, imagine, I just thought I was going to die sitting outside of this airport terminal. But yeah, there's a big difference between 7 degrees, I guess, and 30 degrees.
Those doors, they're meant that you can actually push them out.
Oh, really?
Yeah, they're the big airport doors. They're meant that they can be pushed out because of God forbid you have to evacuate. You just push them out and they'll open up.
Okay. I could have just ran full speed straight through it.
Right through.
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, you probably get in trouble, but at least you wouldn't freeze.
Hey, I'd survive though. You know what I mean? Every day getting out of the hotel in the morning, it was like, in the like 18 degrees, 19 degrees. I looked insane because I would get in the car and like, I know this is horrible to do, but hey, it's like a rental, right? I get in the car and I'm just like redlining the car. Like I start the car and within 2 seconds, I'm just redlining the car, trying to warm it up as like fast as everyone like in the parking lot just staring at this Chevy Trailblazer, just going at it.
He's getting it.
Just I was like, this has to warm up as fast as humanly possible.
I got a question for you, Mike. You have a lot of iguanas by your house. Are they like falling off the fucking house, or what's going on?
I haven't seen them. Yeah, I haven't seen them in a while. So they don't like the cold weather. So
do they like hibernate? What, did they dig holes, or don't they just I guess they find a tree and just perch in there and not do nothing? I guess.
Yeah, if it gets in like the low 40s, they'll go into like a coma. Like they'll just fall asleep, which is probably the time I'm going to crawl on my roof with a gun and get rid of them.
That's fine, man.
I mean, it's
that's horrible.
Yeah, I mean, I think I've gone through the whole iguana thing with everyone here. So we hired people to come here to humanely get rid of the iguanas. They put cages everywhere with watermelon in it.
Wow.
And then the iguanas don't go for it. We caught a bunch of possums. I got charged $75 for every possum they caught, and the iguanas just didn't go to these cages. And so
it's smarter than that, dude.
Yeah, so I'm you can buy like air rifles, that are like still like 22s, and
okay.
But yeah, if it gets in coma weather, I'm gonna go up there and I'm gonna send them to the iguana farm. Yeah, bring them out back to the barn because I'm so sick of it. They shit everywhere. They're just gross. So
yeah, It's lizard. Lizards aren't clean like birds. Lizards and birds
Yeah.
aren't clean at all.
Yeah, it's nasty.
Mining
Bacon
King,
eggs.
$10 super chat. Battery
Battery.
heated tracksuits partner with Milwaukee. Oh man, imagine.
Yeah,
Imagine that, Mike.
yeah, you definitely they would corner the market.
That's you, Mike.
Yeah,
That's all your idea right there. Battery
I know
heated
that they sell like
Milwaukee sells this jacket.
heating pads, but
They sell a heating jacket with Milwaukee batteries.
yeah.
So
Yeah, it was cold, and then Kansas swings a lot too. So like you wake up, I'm in the car just redlining it, just for waiting until it warms up.
something's going on with my camera. Hold on one second. It looks like I'm jumping all over the screen.
Yeah, I think you're choppy.
I think hold on, let me just.
But yeah, it swings, and then once you're like working and moving around, you can only lift so many octominers before your body warms up. So it's just the layers thing. It's just I always like think about moving away from Florida, but then it's like seeing that it's like I don't know. It's brutal. I think there's a good middle ground. Like I could probably do like a couple cold days like that. Like I always kind of think Tennessee is, where I want to be, eventually. Me and my fiance, we've talked a lot about the Tennessee area. It doesn't get much snow except for today. So something like that. And Tennessee also doesn't have a income tax, so that's a big thing. But
yeah, that's huge.
Yeah. Yeah, we were talking about that the other day, Dave.
Mm-hmm. I think something's going on with the stream. I mean, I don't have no problems, but apparently the stream is not reading the camera right. I'm gonna try to.
I think you can. I think you can back out of the stream and keep it going.
I can leave the studio and come back in.
I don't know.
Yeah. I'm gonna try. I mean, I'm leaving the studio. I'm not shutting it down.
Yeah.
Let me even come back in.
Sweatsuit. The Low and Hollister's 12. Vinny Del Greco. GPURisers cold weather puts hair on your chest. Yeah, I don't know. It froze my hair too. I put hairspray in, and then I walked outside, and it was frozen. It was frozen. Yeah, it was a lot. But it was good. I saw the Mining King out there. We always have a good time, and we're getting a lot done out there. I think it's already been announced, but we're winding down like the GPU mining shop, and the whole story between that is the new facility that we're building. We have it's going to be containers for ASICs, but we're also going to have a building that's going to be a special use building for it's going to be a little mini data center. It looks a lot better, Dave.
Yeah, it was I didn't know you could leave, even though I'm hosting. I didn't know I could leave, and then you could just take the reins. That's pretty cool. Sorry about that.
Yeah. But the building that's getting built next to the containers, we're not doing GPU mining in. It's going to be basically, I want to say, if you know Melbourne and like our data center there, it's like going to be a replica of that, except all the lessons that we've learned over the past 2 years, we're going to start at where we are now. You know what I mean? So the GPU mining is just it's intense. You know what I mean? In Kansas we have a shop with a couple oddball ASICs, and then we have about I want to say about 200 octominers, and at the where's it 200? I think it's around 150. It's kind of been dwindling a little bit. We've been replacing it with ASICs, but right down the street is the facility where we have all of our ASICs, and we have like 700 there. And I think like a fair percentage to put on that is like when we're out there, it's Jarrett mostly going out there. I've gone, I think, 2 times the last like quarter, or last like 3 months. But the GPUs, although it's a lot smaller amount and like, revenue numbers, just physical machines, and all of that, it's like literally 10 times the amount of work as 700 ASICs. And that's like something that I don't want to say we didn't anticipate, but it's a 235 at its prime. That's crazy, Mighty King. But yeah, it's as much as we want to keep it, right? Like I think everyone here, probably everyone watching, me, Dave, we all started GPU mining. You started with GPU mining, and
Everybody has. Absolutely.
yeah,
Well,
and
not
I
everybody can't say that. The people, the
yeah,
OG people, have, like getting into the space and everything like that, started with GPU mining.
yeah, and I prefer GPU mining over ASIC mining. I like graphics cards. I like the flexibility of algorithms and everything like that. But just the like I just said is the problem, right? The flexibility of cards. Every card is different. It's going to react different. Every Octominer is different. They all have their quirks and features, and then the algorithms are different. So you have overhead. Just say you have 200,000 watts. That's what you can do. You have to every PDU, you have to trace that all the way back to the panel, then to the transformer. And if some people, I know they're not really GPU mining Caspa, but Caspa is a very efficient algorithm. And so you'd have a machine mining Caspa that's using 500 watts, but then you could have that same machine mining Ravencoin and would use 2,000 watts. And that spread is very difficult because you have to reserve that much power for that machine, because what if that customer switches? Right. That's something that we always had. We had freedoms for the customers, right? You can mine whatever you want, but it makes sense why all these other hosting facilities that we looked at in the beginning, when we honestly didn't do a whole lot of market research. It kind of just it was running at full speed from the beginning. But looking back, it was why aren't these larger companies doing GPU hosting? And it's oh, well, they're just not they're not good with it like we are. And that was very naive to have that thought, right? Because it was so you should look more into that when you see other people, why are they doing it this way? Why are they not doing it? Learn from other people. And what I'm relating to is the other people that did GPU hosting, they set your algorithm. This is what you're mining. They're going to do your overclocks. It was, but at that point it was all Ethereum, right? So it was easier. They could track, okay, this machine's going to use this much, and they could utilize the total power. They didn't have to worry about anything. But every time someone switches algorithms also, or they update, I think the big thing Mining King mentioned was when they update these, Hive OS, it can crash the SSD. And the SSDs in these things are so cheap. It's insane, that come with the Octominers. I'm sure if you open one, we should open up one, but I'm sure it's a flash drive that's in there or something. I don't know that's for sure, but those pictures that you see online. But we started switching them with higher end, SSDs, which helped. So it's just too much. It's too much work. The cleaning is immense. It's because that's one thing we do. We really at Terra, we don't. We treat your machines as if they were ours. And I know that's every company says the same bullshit taglines, right? But we really do. We clean these out. We have all rigs there too. You know what I mean? So we had all these clean schedules, but having 235 ASIC or GPU mining rigs, you have to take each one off. You have to put it down. You have to open it up. You have to blow out everything. And every card is different, so all the different fins, all this shit. Then you put it back together.
You guys have to understand too, not that I'm friends with with Mike and all the guys. I can attest to that. I was there. I've been to the facilities more than a handful of times. You know what I mean? It's a lot of freaking work. It's so much work day in and day out. Man, I give these guys so much credit to do all this. I mean, it's one thing of me making cables, you know what I mean? But I'm in a clean place. When I'm making cables, it has to be clean. They're taking stuff that, you have to just clean things out and repaste, and, paste could get other places. You have to clean that out. You have to use alcohol, and it's just such a fucking process.
Yeah.
It's just a huge process. That's a job of its own, besides keeping the uptime for freaking graphics cards, the GPUs, so they can mine.
Yeah.
It's just you guys.
Yeah, not to mention the repasting and repadding. We went through a period in summer where, in summer it gets hot as shit in Kansas. It gets cold as shit and hot as shit. And I think we probably did. I want to say we didn't do a whole lot. It's probably about 150 cards. I don't know. Maybe Jared, if you want to, I don't know. We did a lot. I did a whole bunch, a lot of repasting, repadding, and it's we don't want to charge the customers a whole lot for it, right? So we were we were using GPURisers pads. I would sell them 2 tera for whatever my cost was. So we would pass that on to the customer. So we tried to get like the lowest price there, but every time you open a card, you have a possibility of breaking it. So then it's like, if you do break, even if you have people, I always kind of think like a lawyer, but I also think from like a practicality business standpoint, like you have people sign waivers, but a waiver is not going to make someone not pissed off, right? Because they're going to be like, oh, well, this probably broke because they didn't treat it right, So it's like, well, it's so many problems with it that we just, it's something that we kind of just decided internally to close down. So by the time summer comes,
at the end of the day, there's a lot of hurdles to overcome, and it's just like, unfortunately, it'll take a couple of like bad apples to make the experience just fucking miserable and horrible. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I mean, it's part of business, and
So it's too much, and the keeping up with it is too much, and people are paying a premium. Actually, for the GPU hosting, I think 11 cents is actually a good rate. Like I always joke, if I could go back before we lowered rates, I would raise it to 25 cents a kilowatt hour for the GPUs because of how much work it actually takes. But it is a lot. It's Vinny Greco, no screws left over after repasting. Correct? Yeah. That's always the best, where you put it all together.
What I mean, Vinny Del Greco, I mean, you got a couple here and there. I mean, use it for the other customer. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I'm just kidding.
So
joking.
There was a lot of times like that. I mean, we have a lot of stories with Terra. There were times where, customers, Octaminers would have issues and stuff like that. And like, a fan would go bad or a board would go bad. And we just swapped it out. Like we would break open brand new R8s and just swap new parts all the time. You know what I mean? But eventually it's just too much. And I think Crypto Craig said he mentioned it before that it's hard to find the replacement parts. I have a lot of people that hit me up for replacement parts, and there's not a whole lot left. What we do have at Terra, which we're going to do, I can't put a time frame on it, but since we are closing the GPU shop, we have in the beginning what we kind of did. This is a business channel, so we could talk about business, right, Dave? But
that's what we're supposed to talk about. I mean, we're going to be talking about some AI today too. Yeah. Were you able to get any documentation what we talked about earlier, Mike, on that quick call?
Yeah, I have it shared. We could throw that up in a minute.
Yeah. Okay. But go ahead. Yeah, business.
But yeah, from a in the beginning, right, we were like, okay, well, how can we bring on customers? And a lot of people just had GPUs, and a lot of people, oddly enough, were new people where they were like, they're just buying GPUs. Well, where can I get a case? So some people bought cases, but a big thing that we offered was rentals, where you can literally rent an entire R8 and just fill it with whatever cards. We deal with the rental, the maintenance, everything associated with that is $10 a month. So that was like kind of it jump started the GPU mining. So we have a lot of rentals that people are in, that people are moving out of. So we will have Terra will have, I want to say, about 40 to 50 rentals that we are going to diagnose. We're gonna ship them all to Melbourne because we're not going to bring them to the new site. But we'll probably any ones that have issues or we have to diagnose it and something's wrong with it, we're probably going to part it out, throw out whatever's bad and then keep spare parts for that. So we'll keep everyone updated with that because we were going to sell just used R8s and stuff like that. But we might do both, right? Like sell used R8s and sell fan. I still have fans left. Those fans cannot be hard to source. The hardest thing to source with these are, I mean, there's of course going to be the extension board, the 16x slot that's in it, and also the control or the
power distribution board.
Yeah, the PDU board, power. Yeah, it's what is that? It's the one with all. It's the Bosch thing that they have with all the sensors. It's the control board. It's the control. I think the control board is with the ASIC stuff, but it's the
You can say control board though, because that's what it does.
Yeah. Everyone knows what I'm talking about.
The motherboard, the fan controller.
Fan controller, yeah. The fan controller had like all the sensors on it too. It was kind of like the That had like some kind of firmware on it too. I think that connected with Hive and other platforms that would read it as an Octominer. So
Right.
we are definitely the fan controller. You know. So yeah, I mean the GPU stuff is going away. The date that we have for that's May 1st. So that's one thing we were kind of bouncing around. We're trying to figure out like, you know, what's what. We have people from across the world as clients, which is amazing. But we wanted to give people as much time as possible. So, but we also didn't want to go through another summer, right? So the summer is where it's just like it's overbearing. It gets to a point where it's like, well, do we shut everything down? And then customers don't want to be shut down. And then every time you shut the farm down and you turn it back on, something is going to go bad. You know what I mean? Something's going to happen.
Yeah.
And then you got to diagnose that, and you got to do this. And by the time you diagnose everything, you got to shut it down again, you know? So it's just that. Oh, what's up, Panda? I'll
What do you
buy
think
10
about that?
GPURisers R8s this thing. I literally I had one left, Panda, one new one left. And I was gonna hold it as like a just a backup, you know what I mean? But I guess I made one customer like a promise, like they got an R8 in, and the box was dented and like dented a corner or something. And I think I told him like, oh well, you know, of course we could return it, but if you want to keep it, I can credit you, or I can give you credit towards the new one. And he hit me up like a year after that, and I was like, oh well, glad I kept that one. Hold it as a memento. I do have one in my garage that I used as like a I don't know if you guys remember my old videos when I was at my shop, but yeah, it was in the corner. So I am actually going to put it back here eventually. I'm moving these cases. I have everything all parted out. I have one epic motherboard left that I'm going to be building. I think we talked about it last week, Dave. One last AI machine. That's what you always say, though, right? This is my last one. It's my last one. After this, I'm done. I'm done.
I mean,
so
it could be addicting. I got a little carried away in the beginning. I was just going, and I mean, I need to. I would like to dabble into the 50 series cards when they come out.
Yeah,
you know, personal and to see where AI will take it. You know,
yeah,
that's what I would like to do, but we'll see. Time will tell.
Yeah,
you know,
yeah. The 32 gigs of VRAM is going to be really big for rental rates. Like I already kind of poke around and I look at like what models are out there, what the requirements are to run the models, and 4090s, 3090s can't run them just because of the VRAM requirements. I'm sure there's a way you can kind of like, you know, daisy chain them together or something. That's above my knowledge.
So
but
one card, how much RAM do you think would be sufficient? Like 128 for one card? Is that how you would market the RAM with the
what do you mean
card?
Are you're saying the
AI
like the RAM on the machine?
Yeah. Like what would you do?
I think the rule of thumb is
for like
4
the amount of
times
RAM, the amount of
three-
RAM towards the 32 gigs.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, all of mine have 256 gigs of RAM, and those are all now they're all 8-card ones, but they're on Vast, so I think that's more than enough for Vast because they rent the whole machine. On other platforms, the way the other some other platforms work is they like choose your machine's spliced up into different VMs, so like you can have 1 4090, 10 4090s, and then you can have 2 gigs of RAM or 500 gigs of RAM. So I think depending on the platforms, if they splice up, if you're on a platform where they splice it up, then you want to look at like, okay, if every card was its own machine, how much RAM would someone want on that? You know what I mean? So you have to do a little bit of market research and kind of figure that out. Go through rentals and see how they're renting, and see if it's correlated.
Or it should be fucking good to go.
Yeah,
for sure.
Yeah, we all of Terra's machines have about 100. I would say about 100 gigs per card right now. That is going to go down soon. We are going to expand the machines card wise and keep the same resources. But yeah, it depends. Like our L40S machine, we have 8 L40Ss, and those are 48 gig cards. So that machine has a terabyte of RAM in it, and a
Good
dual
correlation
epic.
from RAM to
Yeah,
the GPU.
yeah. So that
So
one's a
much
little bit
involved.
different.
It's a lot. There's a lot. It's
Yeah,
not easy. The Apple
yeah,
incident in the beginning is just like you want to try to be, it's a competition at the end of the day. It's just like
Mhm.
I guess it's definitely way different than mining because mining, it's a competition, but it's just a matter of, okay, you're still going to be able to get a return for what you put into it, right?
yeah,
But on the AI side, you have to be in the middle, I guess, or up top to be competitive so you can make money,
yeah,
or be really cheap and not care about much of a return. Like, and if you don't do the figures right, you'll lose money,
yeah.
So,
Yeah,
um,
it's especially
a lot.
venturing into the newer cards
Oh
because
my God.
those you're going to want either full 16x on 4.0 or 5.0 at 8x.
Right.
I actually wanted to. I gotta. I was gonna send it to Jared. I saw this guy selling like combo boards, and they were reasonably priced. They're more expensive than what these are, but it was the new gen epics. I don't know if the right way of saying it's like the 9000, but it's like a 9350, whatever, you know what I mean?
Okay.
It's those on a board, so it has PCIe 5, but these are like test boards and chips or something. So they're CPU locked at like a certain frequency.
Okay. So it won't let you overclock to a certain point then.
Well, you're not going to overclock the
CPU.
CPU on it. I just didn't know if it would cause a problem. Here, let me bring it up actually real quick. Because I had it here. I was going to bug Jared about this.
Money King saying Triple O's experimental.
Yeah, experimental. This is what it is here. Let me just put in the chat, Jared. If anyone also has, because I was going to buy this, but it's a 9654 ES CPU. The guy is saying that these are engineering sample chips and they require the motherboard they are being sold with as they have specific BIOS. They have a lower base clock of 1.2 gigahertz. RAM is also limited to 3600 megahertz, which that doesn't really matter, right? All too much for rental. So yeah, I don't know. Like, I don't know how that would show up, or if like someone that is renting the machine, like the customer, like in mining, right? Like you don't really give a shit. You're like, okay, I don't care where this was made, right? This could be made in some random factory in China in like a tub, but like you don't care because it's going to have this mega hash rate. I know there's silicon lottery and all that stuff, but it's going to do this. Whereas with all the AI shit, you have to be like, will a customer rent this? Will they like it?
Right.
You know what I mean? So I don't know. I was gonna maybe pick one up and see, because bacon, eggs, and hash. You've heard of the chip. Anything good from it? Because it's not too expensive, but it might be. Jared, the issue is some of those are not stable, and this was an engineering samples for make motherboards and testing things, which means it could totally take a dump. Yeah, but Jared, it is cheap. It is a lot cheaper. So
What do you call cheap though? So what is the price difference between this here getting something like this or getting a normal, like the normal use, like a normal chip that you would normally use?
like this setup, but not an engineering chip.
Yes.
I would say that would probably cost around 3,500 or $4,000.
So is it half price or what is it go?
Yeah, it's about two. Yeah, the guy's asking $2,000 for it. But I don't know if that's gonna like pop up and populate, and someone's not going to rent it because of that. You know what I mean? And then you need to get all the connectors down the line, right? Like all the connections that we have right now are only 4.0 PCIe. So then you got to upgrade all of that. You know what I mean? So I don't know. I was thinking I bought another server case. I have like these 8-card server cases, and I put 8 4090s in them. I think what I'm going to do with this next one is I'm going to just like only put 5 in there, like 5 5090s, and then have them running at full 4.0 16x.
Just 5?
Well, because if I go to 6, then I have to split it to 4.0 8x, which will take a hit on the performance for it.
I was being facetious, Mike. Just being just 5 5090s. I mean, I would like to have at least one, maybe.
I mean, I hope I can get some. Who knows? You know what I mean? They're gonna be difficult.
Be strategic.
Yeah.
Couldn't say it right. What they're selling, they're not stupid. That's how they make money.
Yeah.
They're not going to oversaturate these cards, so the cards aren't worth anything. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
They're not going to sell these cards and have a oversaturation with freaking cards in other manufacturers and put them on sale. That shit's not going to happen. It didn't happen for 4090s, right?
Yeah. No.
Not going to
4090s were extremely difficult to get. Yeah. We actually, I can even tell this story about the 4090 adventure. We like P&Y, we ordered 50 4090s from P&Y. They shipped us 10, and then they just kind of stopped giving us dates. They were like, oh yeah, like the other 40 may or may not come. You know what I mean? Like, it's just like, well, what do you mean? Like, we bought all this stuff. We literally had the frame sitting there waiting. You know what I mean? And so that was crazy. But the what me and Frank ended up doing is we would just go on, to get around the QLAs and everything like that. We would just go on Best Buy with different credit cards, different accounts, and we were just buying, like, I think we ended up, it wasn't too hard, but whenever they were in stock, you could get 3 at a time. So we'd jump in and get as many as possible to fill it up. But what sucks about that is you have all these different, cards, all these different, and we kind of wanted everything to be just kind of streamlined with it. We were really hoping P&Y would come through, but I'm starting to think, which is not a crazy thought. I got Grogu there with the tinfoil hat. Let me never do a tinfoil hat theory, but I think a lot of these distributors are like pay to play, and you know what I mean, where you hit up P&Y and they're like, oh, well, 4090s, yeah, but what would be really good is if you buy these A6000 ADAs, or you buy these A100s or H100s, and if you do that, then all of a sudden you get allocations for the consumer grade cards. So what I'm hoping is, since we did that and we bought data center cards, we bought a shit ton of, not a shit ton, we bought a good amount of L40Ss, 6000 ADAs. So when the 5090s come out, we're going to hit up P&Y. We're going to be like, we bought your other stuff, and so remember us.
One hand washes the other, brother.
Yeah. Mr. Crypto Craig, GPURisers, how the 4090 rentals going? Honestly, amazing. Could not be happier with it. I mean, you could always rent it for more, right? The demand is kind of going up, which is nice. I also set mine a little bit lower with rental, schedules further out, so that they're able to. I get long-term clients, like the one. I think. Yeah, the one client, I've had him for just almost probably since I put the thing up. I mean,
that's
it's
great,
been,
right? Is this
it
just does the
months.
same thing, and it's just like you make a couple of bucks. They're doing what they got to do. It's a good feeling.
Yeah.
You want to get into that Stargate thing a little bit? We're
kind of
running.
Flip it on. Yeah.
The time is this. Oh, you have it up already.
I also want to show. I am. I know I talked about the. Yeah, we'll show this real quick, but I do want to show you guys the tax website. I think that was last week. I put it up.
Yeah, hold on. Let's remove that. I want to remove this really quick. Get the tax website up.
Oh.
Talk about that.
Yeah, this is a shameless shill. So I here, let me
let's get that. It's business, but then the Stargate is big business. So
that's while that's loading up, it's not completely finalized. I have a whole back end that I'm kind of working on it. I don't want to say coming into issues, but I've been kind of changing how I want to do things.
Mm-hmm.
So the whole thing is Terra requires so much time, right? And I was like, I don't want to. like it's not that I'm trying to find like a side gig to do or anything. This is always like something I kind of wanted to do. I just never kind of put time into it. This has been like, I've been working on this. I actually bought this domain back in like 2016 with the idea of always kind of doing something like this. But it is, yeah, you can bring it up, Dave. Am I sharing it? Or? But basically, it's like a 3-tier thing, right? This is why it took me so long to do. It's going to be offering tax return preparation, where I'm a licensed attorney, but I also have, a preparer's ID with the IRS, so I can file your taxes. So there's different parts to it, right? Where it's tax return preparation, but of course there's different prices for individual returns, business returns, or if you're a single member LLC, then that's more than likely going to be on your individual return, but it's still like a business that you're setting up on an individual return. If you live in a state that unfortunately has a state income tax, then it's a state state return that you have to do. And on the filer's side, all of these cost money. Like every return costs money to file. So it was kind of hard to like price it. And I was more so thinking like a higher volume automated type thing where, everyone answers these questionnaires and like, it's just me kind of signing off on it, like overlooking it. And if there's any like thing that I think is missing, because I know how crypto miners are, AI rental people, like I can look at a 1040 and look at, your Schedule C on that and look at a number and be like, that's a little bit lower, that's a little bit high. I have a lot of experience with that. So, long story short story long, Dave.
Mm-hmm.
I kind of came to the conclusion where it's just going to be more like fewer clients, and I can only scale it to how much time I really have. So I thought it was going to be more like high volume, but now it's kind of taken a turn and it's going to be just more individual. Because as I've talked to people, I've had a couple people already sign up, and I should have known this going into it. I just didn't put all of my mental energy into it, but everyone's situation is so different. I know I've been preaching that for years on YouTube, and it's very true. Like everyone's situation is completely different, so I have that, or I guess I can control the website here. So, we offer white glove tax return filings. We also do business setups for cryptocurrency miners. That can be anywhere from, filing LLCs and stuff is really easy. But it's more so setting up business like with the right, spreadsheets for you to properly like track everything that you're doing. And then also like one-on-one sessions. I know a ton of YouTubers do it, these one-on-one sessions, but that's the thing is I don't want you guys to hop on a call with me and be like, oh, well, should I get this, new Dragon Ball miner? You know what I mean? That's not really my expertise, right? Like I'm not the person to ask for that, but I can offer a legal advice on something when it comes to exposure, if you're dealing with partners and liability, right? Like that's my expertise. And also I have a strong finance background and tax. So, if you're trying to buy X amount of miners before the new year, or you're trying to buy them this year and do tax planning for, setting up this year for next year, I can help with all of that. And so that's kind of where my expertise is, right? It's not crypto advice or anything. It's strictly business. So I have it set up like that. This is still kind of getting everything all together. But yeah, I have the federal tax returns here. I did decide to stay with the dog theme here. So
why would you not? It's genius, bro.
Yeah, I know. I was messing around with Sora for so long, and I was like, you know what? I'm going to stick with it. So, this is tax return preparation, and then I kind of lumped together all of the legal, tax, and financial guidance because I was going to separate this out, and then I kind of came to a conclusion where it's like a circle. Like when you're setting up a business, or if you are running crypto mining or AI rentals or whatever in this field as a business, like no matter what, there are legal, there are tax, and there's financial implications of that. And like you need all of it.
He's lifted his paw up. Like, come on.
Crypto Frank, my story. Yeah, Crypto Frank's got the cool one. You say, see, I have 5 seconds. I got 5 seconds. Crypto Frank's got the 20-second one. So, but yeah, this is kind of what it is. If you guys are interested, you can check the website out. Kind of gives examples of this. Here, like for instance, here are the main contributors to a failed and successful businesses in this field. Debt cost, failed businesses usually have a lot of debt, overexposure on equipment, future valuations based on nothing. That's true in the crypto field, right? Like you can't just base it and be like, oh, well, lithium's going to go to $10. Obviously, there's no risk analysis. Capital expenses, operating expenses are overloaded. Failure to do proper forecasting, and falling into the sunk cost fallacy, which the sunk cost fallacy is when you get emotionally attached. That's where you have money in something and you kind of start feeling yourself think like, well, I'm already down this much, what's another 10 grand? You know what I mean? The successful businesses since 2016 that I've been in this field for 9 years, that's crazy now that thinking about it, but is businesses that diversify, have emergency funds, they do equipment purchases made with tax planning in mind, and they cut a lot of CapEx and OpEx. A lot of times people overload on these when things are going really good. They're like, oh, well, I'm making so much, so it doesn't matter, until every crypto not every crypto. I'm saying the crypto markets always have ups and downs. They always have cycles, right? Bear markets, bull markets. So knowing when to pivot and logical attachment over emotional attachment. So that's kind of like what this would look like if you booked time, and also legal advice, because there's a ton of people that I get that come in and they ask, about partners, and setting this up in a business, in like a warehouse, right? Like you're going to have liabilities for this equipment that's there. What if it catches on fire? Do you burn the house down next to you? You know what I mean? So that's kind of like from the idea of this is how you could protect yourself in the worst case of events and all of that. And yeah, so that's that. And then of course, tax is a big thing that I do. So we do that. And then this is what I spoke about before, business setup, where this kind of creates it for you. And again, this is not just like, filing an LLC. I could do all of that, right? Like I could do all the state filings, get you in compliance for everything, and do all of that. But it's also setting you up so that throughout the year, your business is being ran, smoothly, and everything like that. So it can kind of go anywhere. So that's kind of what I did. I also I don't know if I took it out on here, but oh yeah, I did. And resources up here, I am going to add like just general Excel templates that people can download and use. Like if they don't want to use the service or anything like that, like at least they'll have like proper Excel docs that they can use to track their stuff that will help them in the right direction with it. So
not bad.
Yeah, so that's that. But I figured, yeah, this Sora is just. I was having so much fun with it the other night.
It's awesome, dude.
But let me check up on the comments here. Only take payment in Pigeon, yeah. And but yeah, I don't know. It's I figured, I'll finally get it up, and I just never liked the idea of consulting. You know what I mean? So this is kind of that, but it's I'm licensed to give you guys legal advice. I'm also can give you guys financial advice, right? Like the financial advice, I know you always hear a lot of people say, oh, it's, this isn't financial advice. And it's the big thing with that from a legal standpoint.
We can't say that.
Yeah,
on YouTube.
You can legally.
I can't.
Well, anyone can get sued for anything, right? The big thing with financial advice is if you're talking to people about something financial and you're making it out that you have any kind of credentials or experience in that, and you don't. So if if you're saying like, oh, you should go buy this coin, it's good because of this and this and this, and someone loses their life savings on it and they sue you, then you're kind of in this thing where it's like, okay, well, you inferred that you had experience in this, and what experience do you have in it? And there's
not a damn thing. Right.
So that's why I kind of included it in that.
Not you.
So yeah, tax, legal, and all that kind of stuff. Yeah. I'm also working on something. I have to be kind of, it's like a wave of dealing with like this is not a law firm, right? I am a lawyer, but this is like a tax preparation company with consulting. I do not want to have a law firm. Then you have to deal with the bar, like the Florida bar for me. And I just don't want to deal with it. It's a whole different set of shit that you got to deal with. So that's why I'm not like, hey, I could be your attorney, and stuff like that. But there is something that I'm setting up where it's going to be a monthly retainer kind of service where it's going to be geared towards smaller companies that are just starting up, where they don't have like the operating expenses to bring an attorney on board. And they also don't really have the money for a law firm. With a law firm, you got to spend like $6,000 for a retainer, and then they bill you on top of that, and then at the end you eventually get your retainer back. Or they bill against the retainer. It's different kind of, but
yeah,
there's a big barrier to get in with a law firm. And so I kind of wanted to disrupt that idea a little bit and be able to offer something. So I am going to be offering like a monthly thing where you subscribe monthly. It's like a subscription, and it is like a on-call retainer where you don't have to set up a one-on-one or anything. You have my personal number. You can call me, text me. And if you have any issues, I can help you with reviewing contracts, right? Like if a hosting company gave you a contract, you want someone to look at it, I can look at it. Unless it's Terra's, I wrote that one. But it's things like that, right? Like, hey, just having a second look on things. That's like a big thing, and stuff like that. So I still have to figure that out. I didn't put that in yet because I have to make
huge,
sure I have.
Mike.
Yeah, I think so too, but I kind of need to price it right for how many hours, but then it can't really be limited hours because it's like you call me, you text me, I'll respond right away. So it's kind of, I want to make sure that there's a clear scope of work around that. But yeah, it would be nice. People can email me the agreements that they get. People can email me agreements that they draft to Redline, or and so I have to look at the exact the bar rules associated with that, because this is not a law firm. Right. I am an attorney, but this is not a law firm. So I have to see where it kind of crosses from legal consulting to practicing. So it's kind of a balancing act, but I think it would be good
because it's easy to do what you're doing and then all just start practicing into the law, right? Like using your credentials, and you have to like separate that at all times.
Yeah,
because you guys are in good hands though. Mike's got a lot going on. That's pretty cool.
Yeah, I think I can help. There's a lot of Terra clients too that I hop on the phone with them and help them.
Makes sense.
General tax advice and stuff like that. But like I said, that's the first thing everyone out. Well, what should I do? It's like, well, it depends, right? Like, how many dependents do you have? Do you have how many sources of income do you have? Do you have another business? Do you have losses from last year, from 4 years ago? Do you have, there's just a million different things that do it, where you really have to sit down with each person and do it. So that's why I think I canned the whole idea of having like a mass amount of these tax returns, which I might revisit that, right? If it's very simple, like just a W-2, 1099, maybe the K-1 and a Schedule C, But everyone that I've onboarded already, it's always like, oh, well, I have this other business and I have this business, and it's multiple streams, and then it's multiple different states. So I quickly found out like, okay, I'm gonna kind of keep the scope of this a little bit smaller. But the one-on-one, the legal, financial, tax and stuff like that, that's pretty open. But when it comes to the tax returns, I have to make sure I have enough time to allocate to it, and you can get ahead of yourself really quick.
The Crypto Fank has a question for you there, Mike.
If you ever meet someone that constantly says they will sue you when something happens they don't like, just know that means they've never experienced a real lawsuit. Yeah, exactly. See, I say the opposite of that, Frank. I say sue. I'm literally the opposite. I just say sue me. Like, sue me. You're mad, sue me. Literally, please sue me. Go through that whole process. Yes, because it's gonna cost so much money to do it. Where I think again, not trying to shill this, but for a couple hours talking, it's going to cost a couple $100, but I can help on that front, right? Like if someone, calls you or they say they're going to sue you or something, I can, you can kind of lay out the facts and some documentation. I can kind of guide you and give you some guidance on, where you stand on that. Whereas any other business firm, like I said, you're going to pay 5-6K for a retainer, and then fees on top. Every email is going to cost you $80, right? Like every phone call is going to cost you $800.
That's 5K. That retainer,
Yeah.
5K, you might just throw it out the window without even getting anything in return, really.
Yeah.
I mean, that's how it kind of usually works.
So Retro Mike, I'm going to sue this thing and use the money to buy a house and the keys. Yeah. Yeah.
Shit, if we had the money, we would have the house and the keys right now. Let me tell you.
Yeah. But how many baby mamas? Yeah, exactly, Vinny DeGore. It's everyone's situation everyone makes it out like, oh, it's it's easy. Like I just got this, this thing, you know what I mean? And then you start digging in it and you're like, oh, you've been audited 4 times. And it's like, and then, it's,
you owe back taxes. What?
Yeah, it's crazy. Lawyers charging for reading emails is the worst bullshit. Yeah, I mean, Vinny Correct. I practiced for years before I started GPURisers, and it's like that. You know what I mean? They have the CRMs that they have. It's connected to your phone, so when you pick up a phone, it's linked to the CRM, and it knows what client called you, and it starts recording the time. And then it bills them for it. Now, a lot of firms will actually just do like the firm I was at billed a quarter hour no matter what. Right. If you responded to an email, it was a quarter hour. Other firms have an eighth of an hour. I've seen some firms have 6 minutes or 8 minutes or however. I think it was 6 minutes, 1/10 of an hour. But yeah, it's a lot, right? And I was at the firm I was at. I was billing out before I left. And I was only a couple years, I think I was only like 2 or 3 years experience. I was billing about $3.25 or $3.50 an hour. This is much cheaper, of course, right? And I have a lot more experience now than I have, but I don't have the overhead of an entire law firm. You know what I mean? Like I don't have like all this other shit that I have to do. So I literally just could pick up the phone. That's my overhead is this website. So it's bills by 15-minute chunks. Yeah, it's crazy. Be like Liberty Mutual, only pay for what you need. Yeah, that's how I'm doing flat fee on the taxes. But again, that opens it up to a whole nother slew of stuff where you get someone's return, and if you do a flat fee and you don't do hourly, then it's a problem. But all these other firms that you see I tell everyone when I'm talking to them about this, go check out the other guys, because the returns, for instance, I said it starts at $4.99 for an individual return. That's more expensive if you go look at H&R Block, but H&R Block charges you just say $1.99 for a return, but then a W-2 is like $60, and then a 1099, each 1099 is like $50, and
adding shit on.
Honestly, those are it takes no time to do. So I was like, you know what takes a lot of time to do is setting up these businesses, like Schedule C's, doing all that. And if you do have an actual, an LLC that has multi-member, then you have to file a business return, and then you have to have a K1 that flows through. So then that's a lot. So I've been doing the flat fee thing. So we'll see how it goes. But yeah, lawyers they charge a lot. They definitely charge a ton. So this I think will help a lot of people that, like I said, that are in that transition point. Not so much the guys that are doing this out of their house and stuff like that, but I'm talking in regards to the retainer thing, the monthly fee where you can call and text me. I think there's been a lot of people that have had a lot of interest in that, and it's because I hear the same thing. They're like, I call a law firm, they want me to sign all this stuff and do all this stuff, and it's overwhelming, and you don't want to pay $5,000 for a retainer just for someone to talk to you, and then use maybe 2 hours of time, and then they hold the retainer until you close your account with them or something, or a lot of firms will have earned on receipt, like if a retainer is earned on receipt. So if you don't use that, then the rest is just kept over. You know what I mean? But yeah, long story short, Sora AI videos, pretty cool. I definitely suggest everyone.
It is pretty cool.
Yeah, the add-ons suck. Yeah, Crypto Frank, same here. It's hard to even admit how much I spend to prove a point. I spent to prove a point. Yeah. Lawyers win. That's the thing is, whenever you see a battle, whenever you see companies going at it, you just know there's like lawyers in the background, just because the in-house counsel also doesn't do it. Like that was always like a joke in law school. Was like, what do you want to do after law school? Everyone's like, I want to go be a public, defender or prosecutor in New York, do all this like crazy shit that they see in TV shows. And the reality is, I want to be an in-house counsel. I want to be 9 to 5. If there ever is a legal issue that arises, you go find a law firm. Like you don't really handle that. You know what I mean? If there is any kind of any legal things that come up. So I mean, they handle some stuff internally, of course, but yeah, it was always kind of a joke. So
nice.
But
you
yeah,
want
that's that.
Stargate, a little bit of Stargate, because I'm gonna have to go extremely
we can
soon.
switch over to Stargate for a second. Or we don't have to. Did you guys hear about Stargate?
Well,
it'll just take a sec.
Trump's in office now, right? So, and then there was like a major meeting. They were there with him.
Yeah.
How many guys there? I forgot the names of the guys that were there too. So like,
yeah, really not all of them were there, but it's
Sam
Altman, the CEO of OpenAI,
right?
He was there. But yeah, I think this is, here we go. This is SoftBank, OpenAI, Oracle.
Make it a little bit bigger, Mike. Or no? Or is it big?
Huh?
Can you make it a little bit? Yeah. There we go. Oh yeah.
So
$100 billion, bro.
Yeah.
This is insane.
Which is really, really exciting, and this is going to breed, I know I'm kind of going everywhere on this, but this is going to breed like there's going to just be a huge boom with this stuff. I know it's probably going to create a bubble too, but the infrastructure boom with this is going to be insane. And I'm really, really looking forward to this. I think that the idea of keeping this so like stateside is just awesome. So many jobs are going to be created from this. It was just inspiring seeing it. If anyone didn't see like the clips from the White House, seeing the guys go up and talk about it. I mean, they were talking about what this technology will do, which we all know, right? Like we all understand, how the impacts of AI, and also what maybe AGI will bring, right? Like creating the first thing that is smarter than a human, and how that will just start multiplying and multiplying. But long story short, they were talking about like cancers and stuff like that, curing cancers. They were talking about like a couple of years. They weren't saying like we're 20 years away from this, 30 years. They were saying like a couple of years. I know it's all bullshit until they actually do it, but I mean, putting this much money in, and not just this much money, but like building these things everywhere. I mean, I have my tinfoil hat theories, but I think that they know exactly what this is going to bring around the corner, because it's already there. But
it always has been.
Elon said Stargate is a bust, no money to back it. Yeah, I saw that too, bacon, eggs, and hash. I am a big Elon fan, but he can be very sour about things. I know he's very sour with OpenAI. I don't know a whole lot about how everything went down. All I know is headlines, right? Which when you're reading an article online, it's going to have a bias to it.
Isn't it a little weird, because isn't he the first to say, here's my engineering, it's open, if you can make it better, make it better? Like, I don't understand what the controversy is.
I think he was just a little bit behind with Grok. I mean, he's building crazy. He's doing amazing stuff. Like he won't be behind for long, but
so maybe it's a little sour. Like he feels that probably the 100 billion could go towards him. That would escalate that better, I guess, maybe in his mind.
Well, I mean, it's not going. It's a company that's investing in it. It's not the. I mean, they're going to get tons of incentives, but they didn't include Elon with it, which. I mean, if you look at like who's involved with this, I think it kind of makes sense, right? Like Elon probably wouldn't want to be involved with it. But also Elon's very like anti-censorship, whereas you don't really know with, Oracle and Microsoft, where they're going with it. And they might have different visions, right? Like with AGI, everyone has a different definition of what it is. But yeah, I do think Elon Musk is a little sour about it. But I do think that will, again, it'll like feel, these billionaires fighting against each other, like not fighting, but, these titans of this industry going at each other's throats with this is it breeds innovation, right? Like, Blue Origin with Bezos is doing fairly well. They had a really good launch the other day, and it's because SpaceX has been doing it. It's just like everyone's competing against each other, right? So all these companies going into AI competing will breed a better product for all of us. So Elon and Sam don't get along. Yeah, they had a falling out, which I'm sure will be unified at some point. So I'm a big fan of Sam.
We might have to be, because the robotics and everything, and I think like the next thing that people are developing China right now is your robot soldier at this point. So with that being said, we're gonna all probably come together sooner or later.
Yeah,
because you're always gonna have people, soldiers or whatever, but dude, it's gonna come a time that we're gonna have fucking, mark my words, we're gonna have robot soldiers.
Yeah. Let me pull this up really quick, Dave, since you're saying that.
Yeah, it's just like, it's crazy how what's going on now. You know what I mean? What we have right now already, dude. It's crazy. It's getting.
It's funny they say that these Anduril is this is a defense contractor company that's private, that was created by the guy who invented Oculus, that sold to, I think, did Oculus sell to Google or Meta? I don't know, but
I think it was like Google and then it went to Meta.
Okay. So this guy's really interesting. He's building a giant plant in Ohio, and he was saying something crazy. I watched a video of it the other day where they can make 1,000 drones a day. Like, that's what the factory is going to be able to put out.
Jesus.
And he makes some crazy stuff. This guy reminds me of I think I talked to you about this guy before, Dave. This is one of those stock picks that once they IPO, this is the company to go for. But they create some amazing products, and their products are very AI focused as well. So this is going to be an interesting one to see where their products go with AGI and the ever evolving forms of everything. It's
I mean, that's just this world, dude. This world's gonna be automated.
Terminators have arrived. Yeah, but that's what you're saying, Dave. Like robots, these things are already out there, and
they're
imagine bringing them, hands off intelligence. You know what I mean? Make their own decisions.
Well, I don't agree with that.
Yeah.
Thinking fast and making something intelligent like the human being, we can barely control our own race as human beings, right?
Yeah.
So now you want to put in the equation some fucking robotics and stuff like that they have some,
let's do it.
Adaptive learning. Like,
let's do it.
What could possibly go wrong?
Yeah, what could go wrong? We do need to kill
go wrong. Like,
Max Voltage, what's up, man? Still at work? Working late today, Max. Well, welcome.
Crazy, but
we are wrapping
innovations. It's freaking amazing, man.
Yeah, I think these guys are going to be doing a lot. Anyone that's interested in the military industrial complex, check out Anduril. The CEO of this company is definitely worth following. So they're gonna have but no normal shift now, 1 to 10. Oh yeah, you mentioned that, Max.
Nice.
But there's never been one AI movie that hasn't ended with the end of human existence.
I know.
Yeah.
It's just like the people that make the movies, they just don't want to make it happen. Well, isn't what the hell, WALL-E? Isn't that a good one?
The Disney one?
Yeah.
I don't know. It'll be interesting, that's for sure. But
it'd be interesting.
But
So new president. Let's get everything situated. Let's see how it goes. Right? Things are going up and down as usual. It seems to be the norm.
Yeah.
Right now.
Yeah. Hey, on the good side of that is we might be able to have land available in Greenland, so we can start mining in Greenland and do that. We can also probably get things a little bit cheaper once we take over the Panama Canal.
Okay.
And
what else?
And Well, I don't know. Maybe the cities around the Gulf of America will flourish, and
Okay.
we'll see, Dave. You know
The
what I
Gulf
mean?
of United States. What?
Yeah, the Gulf. Is it the Gulf? What did he say? The Gulf of America or Gulf? I don't know. I don't even know.
Gulf of America.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The one thing I thought of when I saw that is I'm just like happy that hopefully I live long enough I can see grandkids and that whole thing, and I could point at a map and be like, when I was young, this was called the Gulf of Mexico, and then I could just on like a Thanksgiving or something, I could just go crazy and just start saying like insane stories about how we really took it over. That's the first thing that came to mind is like, oh, I can now point at a map and say something is different.
This used to be called Canada. Now it's called United States Part 2.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Who cares about the economy and affording groceries? Let's just buy other countries. Yeah, let's just put some offers out there. You know what I mean? Syria can't be that expensive, right? How much is Syria?
Come on, we got money. We just print the fucking money out. We just print it out, bro.
Yeah, exactly. We'll just print more money. What could go wrong? Nothing could go wrong.
We used to have presidents, but now this guy named Trump owns the United States.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, we could sell parts that we don't like, right? Like we'll chip off the east or the west side of California. We'll sell that to Russia, and then we'll take the Arctic Circle in return for it. And it's crazy. So it's
time will tell.
Time will tell. But hey, the one thing, I know I don't get too political, but I am very excited for the energy regulation cuts. That's directly affects me, my business with Terra, and it affects all of us with that stuff. So that is something to watch. Let's watch energy prices. Let's see if we can get some nuclear back going on with all this ridiculous red tape that they have around everything. So that was really what I'm most excited about is that everything else doesn't really affect me. You know what I mean? I don't, it doesn't affect, but not 99% of this shit doesn't affect any of us. So, welcome to the beginning of the end of America. Yeah. It's the beginning of the end. It's the golden age, Retro Mike.
It's perfect.
The thing is, if you go to the Keys Retro Mike, nothing matters. They don't care who the president is.
Oh.
They don't care.
That's another world.
Yeah, they don't even know who the president is. They don't even know what a president is.
Nobody really bothers Florida either, for the most part.
It's the Conch Republic. It's its own. Take back the canal and sell naming rights like they do in pro sports stadiums. Yeah, that would be fun. Yeah, it's the American Airlines Canal. Yeah. Trump can build a big hotel in the Panama Canal. It'll just be like the Vegas one that he has.
Nice.
But fun stuff.
Fun stuff. Good stuff. So we will be on your channel next week, huh, Mike? Are you gonna be traveling, or you still make it happen? Whatever. Doesn't matter. We're doing
next week I'm going to be in Melbourne.
Okay.
The 29th. So we have an inspection on we have something we got to do on the 30th. So that night it's in the morning on the 30th. So I'm going to drive up the 29th. So I'll probably be at a hotel, but
all right, we'll figure it out.
Beautiful background.
I couldn't get the rest of my lights up, so I can't find the fucking controller. So I have to.
Yeah.
But well, I appreciate everyone for joining us tonight with our shenanigans and business, of course. We will see you guys on Mike's channel next week. Thank you for hanging out with us. Like, subscribe, hit that notification bell before you go out.
Slap that bell, Dave. Slap that bell.
Smack it. Anyway, enough with that. Thank you guys. I appreciate it. Have a freaking great night. Be safe out there. Talk to you guys later.
Yeah. See you next week, guys. Take it easy.
Later, guys. Peace.